Fantastic. Well, good morning, everybody. MassDEP, the Bureau of Voice Cleanup, welcomes you to this segment of our coffee hour. I hope you have your beverage of choice. I see David Foss from the Brownfields team. Hard at work on that score. So, and Pat Corcoran too. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I know that we are really busy, obviously. MassDEP also shares your same world as it comes to how busy summers can be here in New England. Trying to balance recreational with work commitments is always the challenge. But again, we are delighted to have you this morning and again, continue our commitment to ensuring that there's communication and availability of staff for any questions that you may have, again, during the busy summer season with field work, commitments, etc. So this morning, we just kind of wanted to ensure that we are available to answer any questions and just sort of to kick it off a little bit to tell you that we have been super busy on the policy front. We currently have 12 very active exercises for a whole bunch of documents that warrant some review, updating, whether it's due to change in science or otherwise just making sure that we catch it up in other ways. So we're going to be providing you with a quick rundown of what our efforts are regarding these particular documents that we're working on. Some of them actually have deadlines for weigh-in and comment from the public. And we especially appreciate licensed site professionals and 21E consultants weighing in and providing commentary so that we can reconcile these documents and ensure that they reflect your posture position on the science and applicability, implementability. So thank you. The other thing is I just want to, again, express sincere appreciation to our wonderful advisory committee membership. We are so delighted to be working again towards having live meetings. We had a test drive of a meeting a couple of months ago, and I was told that this is the first live meeting that we've had since COVID times. So a little bit of a few kinks along the way. But again, Amita Naik, who helps us run these meetings, as well as Chris Borges, we are internally meeting to ensure that we can kind of go back in a time machine and understand how we can bring about a more polished experience as it pertains to showing the slides and all that. And even Paul Locke has given us a whole bunch of good tips. So a little bit rusty, but again, the spirit and intention was there. And we promise you that the upcoming meeting will go a little bit more smooth. And we are looking forward to providing you with really great content. So thank you to our advisory committee members who trekked it into Boston a couple of months ago. And also we were able to honor Larry Feldman for his many, many years of service and assistance to the Bureau, as well as also Wendy for her Licensed Site Professional Association leadership. We miss her. And we also welcome Mary Ellen Morris as the new executive director. So we're looking forward to partnership again with LSPA. And you will see us a little bit more active in, in that particular space. So we want to thank Mary Ellen for making sure that, we're always coordinating. So thank you. Last but not least, we are also excited about being a full-blown participant coming up at the AHS conference. MassDEP this year will have a booth. So I want to thank again all those wonderful AHS Scientific Advisory Committee members who really bring terrific content to AHS. MassDEP is a very proud sponsor of AHS in all of the work that goes into putting together that particular effort, and that will be happening in October. So MassDEP will be offering a PFAS session for LSP credits if the board acquiesces to, again, our content, etc., and everything that the board does to basically approve these courses. But again, MassDEP, at the request of consultants, we're looking for opportunities to provide DEP credits along the way. So thank you for all the great ideas. I will stop there. Ken, why don't we just at least provide all of the wonderful members that made time to come together this morning with a quick update on our policy efforts, and then we'll open up the floor. And I just want to acknowledge folks from the DEP team. I see John Ziegler, our PFAS coordinator, David Foss, our Brownfields coordinator, Abby, our Brownfields EJ coordinator as well. Sarah Hughes providing significant support to the policy group insofar as data analytics. Brian Roden, who is our audits and enforcement coordinator. Who else do I see? A few folks. Rob Lucci, Nafpreet from the Southeast region, and so on and so forth. So we have MassDEP folks here ready to assist. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ken.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'll be pretty brief on this. There's about 25 different policy projects that are on our plate right now. About half of them are very active at the moment. The soonest highlight coming up is engineered barriers. Maybe some of you remember from the public draft that was from 2002 has been revived, and that will be out for public comment hopefully in the next week. Other ones that are active right now, you guys have seen the off-gas policy. Public comments were completed as of June 30th. The MCP Q&A is coming back from the LSPA at the end of this month. And the PFAS CAM was finalized and published and posted on June 30th. Other active projects going on right now include vapor intrusion, risk characterization, an EPAM operating regimen. The CAM for perchlorates will be posted and published on August 1st. There's been activity on monitored natural attenuation. I know a number of you have been interested in that one as well. And then there's PIP guidance that's being prepared as well right now. On our training window, the one that we're planning on is activity and use limitation training, probably going to be pre-recorded, so it'll be on demand. And that's going to take a little bit to put together, so we're probably shooting for winter to pull that one through. So that's it. If you have any questions about any of the policy work, let me know. But like I said, it's a list of 25 different things right now, so I'm not going to go through them all. But if you have any questions, fire away.
Thank you, Ken. I guess, before I open the floor, I wanted to tell you, maybe a couple of months ago, it seems like maybe a month ago, I'm not sure, the audits folks and actually PPD, so Peggy Shaw, worked together with Brian Roden and others to develop a template letter. There were 3,000 letters that were issued to property owners across the Commonwealth. And some of these owners actually outside the Commonwealth, because they may own property in the Commonwealth, but they live somewhere else or receive the mail somewhere else. And this had to do with basically communicating with these individuals that their property is recorded in our databases as property with a permanent solution with conditions, that condition being an activity use limitation, deed restriction. That particular letter, again, was meant to be a compliance assistance letter, just to clarify, not necessarily viewed. Some may view it as having scary language, which goes without saying, because there is an obligation and often is triggered by compliance, basically just requirements that come with an activity use limitation and compliance issues. But again, the spirit of this letter was to basically communicate and say, hello, your name is on our database. If you're no longer the property owner, kindly please get back to MassDEP so we can perfect our records. I will tell you that I have been receiving some calls. I have a list of calls, and I'm working through that list with DEP staff in Boston to make sure that we can update our databases. But again, thank you so much, and especially licensed site professionals, if you are advising property owners, your clients, about this letter, kindly please communicate to them that this is meant to be a compliance campaign. So I just don't want for folks to get animated over this letter. This is something that we issued 5 years ago. And again, we continue to find ways to update, catch up, perfect our databases. And insofar as any questions, please contact Peggy Shaw, contact myself, contact Brian Roden if there's any questions that may come along the way. So thank you. So that's what I have. I don't know, John Ziegler, if you have anything, or David Foss in the Brownfields world, please weigh in.
Yeah, I'll just weigh in real quickly. I mean, Ken touched on guidance, and I know I'm probably sounding a little bit like a broken record, but we are continuing to work on PFAS guidance, updating the sampling guidance document. I don't have a date for all of you as to when we may have that out, but please know we're working on that in earnest and trying to get that out. We're trying to incorporate into that some of the questions we've received from all of you to hopefully clarify a path forward as you're doing PFAS investigations. But what I would say in the meantime, if you do have questions, please reach out to the regional PFAS leads and have discussions with them. I'm happy, of course, to participate if it's helpful. So that's essentially where we are right now with PFAS. And then, of course, we're continuing to look at our standards along with Office of Research and Standards and the drinking water program. So those are all things that we're continuing to work on. So.
I have a couple quick ones on brownfields. So we're continuing our regional brownfields roundtables where people can come and participate in an in-person meeting to talk with experts from DEP, Mass Development, EPA, and regional planning commissions. September 4th, we'll be hosting a live in-person meeting in Greenfield at the Franklin Regional Council of Governments, FRCOG. So if you're a Western Mass person or have a client that is out there, please feel free to come to that meeting. Based on popular demand, I've gotten a request that we do an online version. So we're going to probably on September 9th, we're still working out the details. We're going to do, instead of 3 hours in person, it'll probably be 90 minutes online via Zoom. We'll probably, hopefully using the same channel because that makes it easier for folks to get access to. But we'll have really similar content, maybe a few less case studies, but talking about the same access to brownfields resources and funding. So September 9th in the evening, trying to make it a different time slot so people that have day jobs that don't allow them to go to a municipal meeting from 9 to noon can participate. So watch this channel. We will definitely, I'll ask Ken to share this out through the BWSC information sharing. And then on a different and more positive note, not that brownfields funding isn't positive, on August 23rd, there's a fantastic event in Fall River called Take Me to the River, which is a free concert and crafts and food trucks and fun stuff. And the reason I'm sharing it with you today, so go to Fall River Saturday evening, August 23rd, is because the location is City Pier. And City Pier is a fantastic success story for the Brownfields program. It was a 30 years of contamination with, in your world, PCB, soil and sediment, and the city with really a long-term commitment has redeveloped that site. And so the Take Me to the River Festival, kind of arts and music festival, will be at City Pier in Fall River on August 23rd. And it's an example of how, an old contaminated site can be a real focal point for community and public engagement. And so, and thanks to the EBC of New England, that project was awarded the Brownfields of the Year award about a month ago. So anyway, I'm just trying to promote the get out there for live music because that's a great way to spend a summer evening. So that's my highlights for today.
Thank you, Dave. Much appreciated. And John. I don't know, Brian, if you have any updates from the C&E audits world or EDP also, if you have anything to share. I know you just got back from being away. So.
No, I don't have anything, Millie. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions. But yeah, I just got back from vacation, so just going through emails trying to get caught up.
Great. Thank you. All right, so the floor is yours. Excited about the content coming up for our August 21st meeting. We will be making a decision as to whether it's hybrid, meaning in person and with online capability, or just going directly into the Zoom or Teams format. So stay tuned for that one. But for sure, we will have a meeting on August 21st from 9 to 11 a.m. Any questions, comments? Areas where we should work in. Dave, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. Doing well, thank you. And yeah, I have a question, just kind of a random one, if this is a good time.
Of course.
Yeah, and before I start, I certainly want to say what a what a luxury it is to have a forum like this. So thank you very much. Really, really appreciate it. So my question is, over the years, we've had clients who from time to time get notices of non-compliance from the department. And hey, it happens, right?
Mhm.
And from time to time, we feel like there might be some additional information that might, argue against it being a true non-compliance. But my understanding is that there's really not a mechanism for disputing that communication from the department. And so the outcomes can be that there might be, at least on our side, a disputed notice of non-compliance, and our client gets, or the PRP gets flagged with the non-compliance, but there's really nothing we can do about it, which is, hey, maybe that's it. That is what it is. But I was wondering if the department would ever consider a different category of communication, because I think I've also heard people in the department say, well, the NON can sometimes be the only way to officially provide a written opinion or, a prompt to the record, let's say. So, would it be possible to have something that might be, a little bit lower level, still official, that could be called like a letter of advisory or a regulatory communication letter where the department could still officially say, and have input on a project, but it wouldn't at least have the perception of rising to a non-compliance.
I understand. So I'll take a stab at it, and Brian Roden, you can certainly weigh in as the CNE coordinator for all of the regions. So as you know, this is a bigger question because a lot of the guidance is standardized and managed through the Office of Enforcement at MassDEP. The notices of noncompliance are deemed, quote, lower level enforcement. NORs may be retracted. NONs typically are not retracted. That's the posture for the department. What I would say, Dave, is that often when a party receives a notice of responsibility, and that's obviously something that is issued as a result of a potential or confirmed release of oil hazardous materials to the environment, that's your moment to say, okay, I want to stay in touch with the EP through this process. This NOR is going to ride probably for a year. Upon the year, there's a decision there as it pertains to addressing all the issues and calling it a day, or basically an LSP retracting as a result of, oh, what I thought it was, it isn't. My advice to you would be to stay in touch with the region during the course of the development for that particular release at that particular site. The regions, I come from the regions. The regions are wonderful, working with folks, trying to make sure that any questions that may lead to potential issuance of a non are addressed prior to issuing the non. Whether it's sampling and analysis, or the scope, or addressing risk issues. Clearly, the NONs can happen anywhere from the inception of the release all the way to almost getting to the end. But I would say that clear communication, direct communication, if ever you have questions, to trying to ensure that your plan and implementation of the plan is consistent with the MCP. Again, nons are the opportunity to talk, and often the regions will, as a result of a conversation with the PRP and the LSP, if they're invited to the enforcement table, there is communication that is rendered thereafter. So there is opportunity to correct the record somehow in subsequent documentations. But again, the question about retraction of NONs, thus far, I have received no guidance. There is no guidance. There is no mechanism to retract NONs. That's been, for as long as I've been at DEP, that's been the posture. And paying attention to the NONs is super important because, as you know, we do not double NON. We may issue an NON and you won't see a second NON. What happens is at that point, you will be invited to the table to address the issues, and the resolution of that issue gets bumped into an ACO, sometimes an ACO with a penalty. So that's, again, deemed a higher level enforcement action.
No, that all makes sense. And I think, to be honest, some of our clients just, they see noncompliance and they have to deal with that internally. And maybe, to be honest, that's part of the point of it being a strongly worded, communication. But then I think also sometimes it's not, DP doesn't necessarily intend to say it's officially a noncompliance. At least that's sort of what I understand. So just, maybe for future thinking or, brainstorming, that, if there was another title for just a different kind of communication, still completely official, I think, we would appreciate that. So just I'll throw it out there.
Yeah, no, that's obviously understood. I do know that it's easy for us to say low level enforcement, but I think any enforcement means something to the private sector world, and especially exactly right. If you're a publicly, traded company, it's just it's not a good thing when you have to report to your shareholders. So I totally get it. I don't know if Brian, if you have any additional comments, maybe I need my own record understanding corrected, so I welcome that as well.
No, I mean, I think, as you said, Millie, the Office of Enforcement kind of lays out the groundwork for enforcement. And I mean, and Dave, I totally understand what you're saying. Having worked in the private sector, yeah, some clients, a non is a big deal for them because they don't want that on their, their record. But like Millie said, that is our mechanism for basically saying that what has happened is not consistent with our regulations, and that's how we do that. I mean, we can look and see. I'm not aware of anything else in any other programs, but I mean, I can circle back with the Office of Enforcement and see if there's any other mechanism. But in general, like, no matter what it is, if there's something that is not consistent with our regulations that has happened or is happening or hasn't happened at the site, that's what we're going to do. We're going to issue a non, and again, that's our way of doing it. So if there's something that is happening that's not consistent with the regulations, I don't think a mechanism exists for us to not send out a non, I guess is my point. I mean,
but we will certainly take it back as a follow-up. I promise you, Dave. We'll work with the Office of Enforcement.
Yeah.
And come out with a clear statement on that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you listening.
We owe you that. We owe you and everything.
I mean, I know on the other hand too, I have a handful of times gotten a call from different folks at DEP saying, you know what, just saw this happened. You might want to try this instead. And so, that you guys are great. No doubt about it. So just throw it out as an idea, as I said.
Yeah, Dave, I'm so glad that you've actually stated that, because I know, again, coming from the regions, communication is so key. And I do know that auditors and staff across the board, 21E program, whether it's, the front end with ER, and often they stay with the first year sites, at least some regions are organized that way. And then after the first year, then it navigates to the site management team. And then after a certain period of time, it navigates to the audits program. Just having that clear communication and, basically availing yourself to, have any questions, call me before before I get any lower level enforcement. That's all fair game. It's all about communication in my book. So
Yeah, well, thank you.
I was trying to find the raise my hand button, but I couldn't find it.
Oh.
But this is Elliot Steinberg at Haley and Aldrich. I know I've gotten calls from the enforcement folks to clarify something that maybe was subject to interpretation, to explain before getting an NON, and that would be cleared up. So, if there was something that could be subject to an NON, I think a first step might be a call from the enforcement folks to say, we're looking at this, we don't quite follow what you did, or can you please clarify it? And then I think the next step is an NON. But I think that might
That's great.
precede the letter.
Yep, that's a good point, Elliot. If we don't have enough information, whether or not regulation has been met, we will try to get that information, prior to sending out that non. And there are some mechanisms to do that. We might send a request for information, and trying to figure out what information is missing. So, but when we do see a regulation does not meet, whatever's happening does not meet the regulation, that's when the non comes. So, but that's a good point. We do reach out sometimes to get additional information.
Thank you.
That's wonderful that it's actually playing out that way. And again, that communication. So we will certainly underscore this sentiment internally through our channels. And, the last thing we want to be is a paper tiger organization. We want to ensure that we use our, administrative tools very wisely and when it's applicable. And often there's certain things that, heaven forbid, this case, this particular site starts navigating into a situation with high-level enforcement. As we know, an ACO, an administrative consent order, does have a statement of facts section. And often that is the one section where I can definitely tell you that we can negotiate the language with the PRPs. And that's, it's again, Office of Enforcement, OGC, they give us these templates. They are what they are, but we've been given the latitude to at least have folks tell their story. And if still through their eyes, they feel that there was something that was misrepresented, that's your story to tell. So the statement of facts is the location. And then the other spot where there's changes, and again, in conformance with what's happening at a site, that would be in the disposition section where you have the deadlines and what has to happen by whatever date. So those are the two focal points where you will find some, more customized language that fits your story. But fantastic. Thank you, Elliot, for your commentary. Again, we really want to make sure we get it right.
You're welcome.
And it means a lot for the MassDEP, the Bureau of Voice Act cleanup program, to ensure that, we our credibility too. So we want to ensure that we are exercising enforcement only when necessary and where necessary. So we do appreciate all those comments. We'll take back the conversation to the Office of Enforcement, get back to Dave, and also encourage our auditors to reach out and talk to people before NONs are issued.
My experience over the years is that MassDEP is a wonderful partner in trying to clean up the environment and work with clients, I think more so than other states. So my hat's off.
We appreciate that. Thank you. We really do. Well, I love enforcement. I tell you, that's something I miss coming in from the regions. But being able to explain away how we get to a penalty, that's also on us to explain and be transparent. So, any questions? Definitely keep talking to us. Keep talking to the wonderful regions, and just let us know how we can assist to clarify things or partner on things. So anything else? Any areas that you would like for us to continue to stay involved in or further expand upon? Any questions?
Well, I'll jump back in just quickly.
Yeah.
Ken mentioned M&A guidance. I apologize, I hadn't heard of that before. Not to put Ken on the spot, but that's something that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, there was a guidance that came out back in 2002, and it's disappeared from the website for whatever reason, I don't know. But there's been renewed interest in it now, 25 years later. The message is the same, that M&A is not a do-nothing option. It's a comprehensive response action, and involves a lot of work, or can involve a lot of work. So that's being dusted off, and I know that the auditors are taking a look at it, and so are the site management folks in the regions. So yeah, stay tuned. There'll be more on that to come.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, great job. Ken has been running point on M&A, and as the prior Massachusetts representative to the ITRC board, Ken was very much involved on the M&A front through ITRC. So it's wonderful that Ken is now able to, resurrect it. We want to see it out there. We want to ensure that there's at least a position from MassDEP, the Bureau of Waste Site Cleanup, on monitor natural attenuation. So we will be providing you with early notice that we'll be posting it on the web. So thank you, Ken, for that. Yeah, anything else? Any good stories? I saw Matt Hackman out there in the field. So where are you today, Matt? He's out in the field. Maybe he is out in the field. All right, quick last question then from my end. Oh, there he is. Where are
Hello,
you?
Millie. Sorry. I know I had jumped on to just say the same thing in response to Mr. Austin's comment, and Mr. Steinberg's response is I just really appreciate every single time someone from DEP calls me up and says, "Hey, Matt, I found something." It hasn't happened a whole lot of times, but when it does, I really appreciate it. So thank you for that communication. It is a great partnership. Thank you.
Oh, well, we thank you also. We really do. So appreciate it. I'm delighted to see this cross generation of great professionals at the table. I guess I noticed that someone from the Matt from the LSP board. Are you here? Let's see, on the board, Matt Line.
I'm here.
Wonderful. So good to
Hi,
see
Millie.
you, Matt. Good morning. And I guess my message is, it's wonderful to see folks expressing interest in becoming licensed site professionals. Not to put you on the spot, but I guess I just did. I would appreciate your commentary on that. And we continue to encourage, just applications and encourage the new generation of professionals that have an expression of interest insofar as becoming licensed site professionals. Really, truly, MassDEP needs you, and the board is really one of our partners to see that through. So with that, Matt, I know that you keep, you keep count of your expression of interest in the process. I don't know if you want to speak to that.
I know I can say we can always encourage candidates to apply to take the exam. We have about 21 in the queue to take the next exam. I know we were a little slow to get the new exams out with the new regulations last year, and but we have 4 exams that we put together, brand new, and we're hoping to offer that within the next 4 or 5 weeks. We should be able to have an exam date maybe announced next week. We'll be reaching out to the candidates to since some of them have been waiting for a long period of time, to just make sure they can take the exam in August, and then also we'll offer it again in the fall for those who can't take it. So be on the lookout for that announcement coming soon.
Awesome, Matt. I really enjoyed working with you at the board.
You too.
And you and Natasha and Terry, of course, a terrific trio of professionals. And thank you so much for all the hard work. It really is truly hard work. And it's really, truly a very important board of registration. So thank you for your fantastic work. And all
You're
the board
welcome.
members. And I hear that Deirdre Manoyo is your new addition to the board, so that's fantastic. Hailing
Oh,
from
and
Wayside
we,
Cleanup.
we do have an open slot still, one more. So I'll get that word out too, that anybody interested in applying for the environmental protection seat. It's been open for about 8 months now. So if you're
Yeah.
interested or you know somebody that's interested, check out our announcement on our board website and how to apply.
Wonderful. I'm glad you raised that. Thank you. It is really rewarding work. So I know it's voluntary, but really is truly, Terry does a fantastic job running the meetings, and all the board members, just the amazing partnership between all of them is just really incredible. So thank you for the hard work. Well, great. We will be working on the agenda for our upcoming August 21st meeting. As Ken stated, some of the documents we have received already commentary. Some documents are out for comment. Just keep an eye out for the MCP Q&A that's available. And we have a 7/28/25 deadline for comments. So kindly please just take a peek on that. Let us know if you have any comments. And
Well, Millie, wait. The MCP Q&A just went to the LSPA to Mary Ellen and
Okay.
some of the
Perfect.
advisory folks. It wasn't intentionally not distributed for a huge public comment because it's pretty
Gotcha.
simple and straightforward.
Well,
So most
for
of you
folks here,
will see it for the first time when it's
yeah,
published.
perfect. So for folks here, contact Mary Ellen Morris. I'm sure you all are part of the LSPA, so contact them. And we really, again, welcome comments. We really appreciate all the voices to ensure that there is, whether it's the way that the answer was written or implications that speak to the reality of how the process will or will not play out for your sites. We really want to hear from you. Okay. We're all hanging in there, especially with keeping an eye out on the federal budgets. So that's our priority right now. We received a few grants and ensuring that there's continuity in service. So again, more to come in August, and for sure when we see each other in November at the advisory committee meeting. So, but in the meantime, we're here if you need us, and we thank you. Last call for anyone with questions or commentary.
I just have one more thought. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, of course.
With the new budget, the new federal budget, is that affecting the Superfund grants that were issued for like the cleanup of the Ponset River that were under that? Was that the infrastructure bill? I forget which one, but is that being affected?
Right.
Do you know?
Yep. So Diane Baxter may be on the call. I do want to tell you. Okay, so in general and broadly.
On the call.
Yeah.
Hold on one sec.
Yeah. So in general, Elliot, I think our priority, or at least through my eyes right now, is seeking advice from Diane and her federal team, as well as Linda Stafford, our new director. By the way, folks, we have a new director for the technical and financial support division. I don't know if Linda is on the line, but if she is, if you don't mind just introducing yourself. These are the individuals that I go to with regards to understanding all of the finances, as well as ensuring that we are continuing to provide the commentary, concurrence, and or commenting on federal actions. Insofar as the new grants, they're still being reviewed, but I do know that obviously the federal year ends on September 30, so there's still money that it's being utilized. So I do want to tell you that. I think the focal point right now is post September 30, 2025, to ensure that we are funded accordingly to continue on our mission and our goals, milestones, responsibilities. But Diane, why don't you weigh in a little bit more for the benefit of myself and everybody here, especially Elliot, who's raising this question.
Yeah, if I understand what you were asking, Elliot, I think you're asking about the ongoing cleanups that were funded through the bipartisan infrastructure law. If so, those are continuing. We have Creason Cook and Danvers, that there's remediation going on right now, as well as Walton and Lonsbury in Attleboro. The funding for those that came from the bipartisan infrastructure law is secure, and the cleanups are happening. As far as other future cleanups, at least our funding as a state, sort of our support function, and EPA's general funding for the year ahead seems to be secure, and they're going to be requesting, EPA is going to be requesting funding upcoming for an initial removal action at the Lower Neponset River site. That'll be the first test, I think, of what what funding might be coming in the future. They're looking at it as, the positive is that there isn't a big backlog of other sites competing for funding right now, because the bill funding had really wiped out a long backlog that there had been in Superfund. So they're hoping for a good funding outcome, but that'll really be the test. And EPA hopes to go before the request board. I forget what it's called, but the federal board that approves funding for Superfund cleanups. They plan to go for that.
I think Diane, Elliot, did you catch that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess so. The EPA has to ask for the money,
Yes.
so it's a fingers crossed. I guess.
Yes. And Elliot, I'm sorry that Diane froze, her connection froze, but I do want to tell you that the emphasis added has been ensuring that we reconcile the language that is associated with terms and conditions. Obviously, the federal government has to follow orders and guidance from EPA headquarters, and that trickles down to the 10 regions across nation territories. And DEP as recipients of the fund, we need to ensure that it's also reconciled at our level. So there's multiple things playing out, whether it's grant acceptance or our recommendation and support concurrence, or even asks to further assessment and remediation, whether it's at the pre-remedial or actual Superfund sites. Just know, Elliot, that we will always look for protective cleanups. That's really our goal. And I just want to say a testament to Diane and her team. They've been at it for a long time. They have exceptional credibility and excellent partnership and working relations with our folks and friends at EPA Region 1. So I'm confident and hopeful that we will continue to put eyes on this process, reconcile any questions, again, terms and conditions, and really understand the process with regards to protective cleanups. So count on us to maintain that level of being precise and that level of excellence when it comes to advancing work. And again, Diane has excellent relationships with folks like Brian Olson at EPA Region 1. If you have any actual more specific questions, I encourage you to reach out to Diane. And
I'm back. I don't know what happened there. I vanished.
Yeah, that's okay.
My
You're back.
Zoom link ended. So I don't know if there's any other questions on that. I'm happy.
Did you have an idea of the time frame for when they go request the money from this board? And is it like this, would it be this calendar year?
Yeah, they're hoping it's fall. There's a lot that doesn't seem to be known at this point as far as process going forward. So, like on the pre-remedial front, the Hanover fireworks site is supposed to be was supposed to have been proposed to the NPL last March. But there's been a delay. The panel that was to that they were supposed to propose that to was canceled, and they're hoping now that it's in September, but they really don't have any firm date. And I think that's the same with the funding, the Superfund funding panel. They're hoping it's fall, but I don't think they have a set date yet. But they have for the Lower Neponset, there's a public process in place. There was a public meeting a couple of weeks ago for the proposed removal plan for a non-time critical removal at the river. That what they're proposing is something like a $78 million non-time critical removal, which would involve dredging of the first mile of the river, and that would allow for dam removal that would be separate from the remediation. So
Wow.
that's what they're going to be going for, a large.
Is it the Towson and Hollingsworth Dam they're gonna remove?
That's what the proposal is,
Wow.
to try to get that dam is not in great shape, and it has a lot of contaminated sediment behind it.
Wow.
So they're I think the plan is that others, including the state DCR, is involved,
Yeah.
would remove the dam, but
Wow.
EPA's
Yeah.
cleanup would facilitate
That's a
that
big project.
removal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've
and
got the
for a removal action, that 78 million is quite a high bar. So we'll see. Initially they were thinking of proposing less, but it really makes the most sense to do it all at once, so you don't have to come back, because
Yeah.
it's so expensive to to do that sort of action in a river.
Yeah, and especially with river situations and dams, working with the Office of Dam Safety, working with DCR and fisheries, if there's like time of year restrictions, the constraints with fish passage, sometimes often that will slow down or alter the actual schedule. But Elliot,
Interesting.
again, any questions? I hope that we can continue
No.
to have any
Just a
dialogue.
general curiosity. I'm sort of, semi-retired and looking in on the outside.
Yeah, no, that's great. We really welcome interest. And it's always wonderful for Diane to be able to be at the table, the seat at the table, to say, we've got constituencies that are asking questions, and there's that accountability. So we appreciate your interest in asking questions. We can actually ensure that we are, truthful in representing in public interest. So
Great. Good luck.
thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So lots of work going on. We will continue to keep you posted on anything and everything, and trying to send out for sure for the August meeting, sending out the agenda a little bit more in advance. And for advisory committee members, please, folks, these individuals are identified on our website. Contact them if you would like for the members to raise additional agenda topics. So contact these members. They're there for a reason, and we appreciate all they do to keep our Bureau in check with the pulse of the regulated community, in addition to the pulse of the consultants, 21 consultants and licensed site professionals and others. So looking forward to a wonderful rest of the summer and seeing all of y'all or some of y'all coming up in August. So last hurrah for any questions, comments before we sign off. Going once, twice, 3 times. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of us this morning.
Thank you. Great
Stay
meeting.
cool, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks.